Hello, fellas and ladies. I got a little bit more TIFF videos for you, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. And in the unlikely scenario you've noticed, I am wearing the same shirt because I'm zooming through these. I do have an article that's not out while I'm recording, but likely out by the time I post on Bite Size Breakdown. It's a great website. Check it out. If after you read the article, you subscribe to socials and all that. Like, what the f***? Next up is The Secret Agent, directed by Cleveland and Dolka Filho. The Secret Agent stars Wagner Moura as a man weaving through corrupt police and mob-like government officials in the wake of a Brazilian dictatorship in the 1970s, which has forced him to go on the run. This is the second major movie that is focusing on the Brazilian dictatorship in the 70s. After last year's Oscar-winning film I'm Still Here, which took a lot more familial approach while also a little more head-on with the dictatorship. Like, we got a little more insider, like, scoop in a way. This one is a little bit more of the people. I should also mention this movie won the Best Director and Best Actor prize at the Cannes Film Festival and has been one of the buzziest titles out of Cannes since it premiered. What I love about this movie is that it's really sick. It's a very patient, very slow-burning movie, but it has a very espionage, like, esque homage thing going on. Got very noir style editing with whip pans and split diopters. A lot of people will say this movie is very slow, which is true, but I think the word patient is a little more apt in this case. Yes, I don't think it's very fast moving or breakneck or anything like that, despite how flashy it can be. But this movie really does take its time to really enhance the characters and the environment, and more importantly, the community. This isn't about devastation, I will say. Even though this movie is certainly dealing with something traumatic, I think that this movie relishes in the community of Brazil and the love for Brazil. The movie is all shot in this very sun-soaked, like, yellow, where it's very bright and very, like, nice to look at, where you're just like, oh, that just looks lovely to just lie down in, despite the fact that there's something very sinister going on. There's a sense of mischief in the air in this movie that really worked. It's all taking place in the middle of this thing called Carnival, which I believe, I'm not Brazilian, I don't know, but very basically it seems like this festival that happens in the wake of Ash Wednesday. And there are scenes where people are just kind of chilling, they're just kind of chatting, and they're just having these moments of like, hey, look at this new guy, let's give him a nice cold beer. There's a scene where Wagner drinks a nice cold beer, and I was just like, oh, I could really go over a beer right now. And it was just really nice to watch. As the movie progresses, things get a little more devastating, but you're gonna hear people say that nothing happens in the first hour, and I think that greatly misses the point. Yeah, I think the plot really kicks in after the 1 hour mark, and this movie is just under 3 hours. But I think if you're gonna say that nothing happens in the first hour, you're kind of missing the point. I think the movie isn't about just that this guy has his life in danger. We kind of find out why his life is in danger, and that his life's in danger at all later on, and when the espionage element starts to kick in, and why this movie's called The Secret Agent despite not being about an actual spy. But I think the movie's really about the community around him. Maybe it's not about community, but it's about resilience. And yeah, things end very tragic. Things don't really go the way you'd hope it does, like from a emotional standpoint. But I think when I see people say that the first hour like lags, I can't help but think that y'all were just too eager to get to the espionage. And when that happens, even that's not super fast paced, it's just when the plot moves the most. When we start getting these really dark glimpses of like the police acting like the mafia and like these hitmen, and the very petty reason why Wagner Moura's character's on the run. I think the deliberate pacing mixed with the style, mixed with the love for Brazil, really holds us together to make one of the year's best films. There's a very interesting non sequitur involving a leg, which I will not spoil, but all I'll say is when I researched it later, it kind of confirmed a suspicion I had about why it was there, and I think that detail was amazing that they added. This is not a fun movie, even though there is moments of fun in it. This is a film that is dark, but beautiful. Wagner Moura gives one of the year's best performances, in my opinion. He's very subtle. I really love the nuances of his performance throughout the whole film. I want to see it again, knowing what I know now about that character, and seeing how Wagner betrays it, because he just has something about him, this swagger, yet fear, that really, like, exemplifies so much about this character. Like, Mendoka Filho's direction is pretty outstanding. Like I've said, it looks great. I love the editing of this movie. This is not I'm Still Here, I should say. I don't think this movie's quite as crowd-friendly as I'm Still Here is. In fact, I think this could isolate some audiences. Not much. I think this is very a cinephiles movie. It's got the most love letter to movie element to it. Like, there's a pretty heavy, emphasis on a movie theater in this movie that I think a lot of people get a kick out of. But The Secret Agent is slow. It's very deliberate. And I think it works to get this stylistic yet patient wonder out there that showcases resiliency in a devastating moment. I'm not trying to say it's, it's like, oh, Trump. I'm not trying to say that's what this is. But I think when you blend all this, you got a weird noir thing that leaves an impact on you that is interesting. Not necessarily sadness or joy, but like a little bittersweet. The Secret Agent is such an excellent and patient exploration of the dictatorship in Brazil in the 70s, opting less for a super dour film, even if it can be very dark, but a slick, stylish espionage homage that favors resilience over despair and even features one hell of a performance of Wagner Moura. I love this movie, and it's easily one of the year's best, and I'm giving it 9 Wagners out of 10. I was really gunning for this movie for Best Picture. I even saw the movie and thought it could happen, but Neon went on a spending spree. I just can't imagine how this movie gets prioritized over like Park Chan-wook and Panahi and obviously Joachim Trier. But I still think Wagner Moura has a really good chance. Honestly, the screenplay might happen. That one I'm curious. Screenplay is getting a little weak, and I think it might be able to squeeze in for that. But I think Best Picture, I would still be predicting it, but Neon just had to get everything. That's all I gotta say about it for now. Go watch this movie when it comes out. It's a lot. It's almost 3 hours, but it's worth a while. Let's grab and share. Bye.